Hey guys, it's Spiro from the TAPTEN.com, and we're here with Ian, the Chief Creative Officer and one of the founders of Roadhouse. So, Ian, we'd like to know more about how you got started with the idea to build Roadhouse and how it's led to where you are today.
Oh, thanks. I mean, Roadhouse is we started in 2009 as a small group of us who, of course, as part of the Vancouver game community, had worked at EA, Radical, Relic, everywhere, and we came together there and started building games. We were working in the web space, but in 2013 we pivoted to mobile and concentrated our focus there, and have subsequently since then just grown and grown and grown to around 150 or so people today, working across a bunch of different game sort of sectors. We have, of course, RPGs. We're about to unleash Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast on the world, which is great. And we also do sports games. We've had a long partnership with Red Bull and have been making games in that genre. And we also do social casino stuff like bingo and things like that. So those three key areas are great. They all sort of feed off each other in the studio, and it creates a great and interesting dynamic.
I want to touch on the Iron Maiden in a second, but first I'd like to ask, what facilitated in 2013 the thought process of moving into the mobile side of things?
So we had been working on a web-based MMO. So that's, it was Unity and stuff like that. So, Unity is a great sort of game engine. It gives you the ability to do things flexibly. For me, it was a lot of people had to be focused on building that MMO, and the server architecture and everything in the back end to run this sort of persistent state world was incredible, and it was wildly expensive, and it felt, I don't know, kind of limiting in a way, just in terms of the commitment. So for us to be able to go into mobile, the idea to do exploration, try ideas, and iterate, using the Unity platform, and to really understand how we could be a little bit more experimental and a little more risky, was really kind of liberating for us. And so when that happened, like literally our first 4 games that we did went to #1 in their download categories, which was great. So like #1 RPG, #1 sports game, it was good. But of course we also realized that game operations and live and stuff, it's really like, okay, that's the day you unlaunch the game, launch the game is the day that the work starts. And so we've been working in that space and doing really, scaling up our ability to run live events, time events. I was just having a conversation with Andrew here about an event coming up in Whistler, a bike race or a bike event, Crankworks, and with Red Bull actually coordinating a real life event with an online event. So that's where we're going to, this sort of space. So that progression has happened. It seems like a lifetime, but you go, crap, that's like 3 years ago. Yeah. So it's been amazing. The best sort of 3 to 5 years of learning and growth for me in my whole career. So.
And did that transition, without revealing numbers, did that transition force you guys to look at the business side of things a little differently? Because revenue from a mobile game perspective and PC perspective are fairly similar, but there are some changes in the free-to-play market, and especially now in-app purchases, which have really kind of taken off. So
yeah, that's a great question. Certainly the business model's evolved, but it's really no different than any other traditional media forms have experienced in their evolution. Like, we buy and engage with music very differently than we did 5 or 10 years ago, right? It's funny seeing vinyl sales sort of come back and setting new records for vinyl, but yeah. So now we're going to start making like side-scrolling platformers, but I do think I don't see it as anything other than just a natural evolution. Free-to-play emerged as a way to combat piracy. Right? If you're thinking about how do I compete with pirates, well, give your games away, right? And then figure out other ways. And the same way with that, music has evolved, and artists are now touring more and doing live shows because that's the things that you can't pirate or you can't. So it's an evolution, and in the same way that mechanics and stuff have changed, and we've been very agile and good about sort of making those adjustments.
Well, I heard through the grapevine from Judah on your team that you're a big Iron Maiden fan. I saw them here in Vancouver, actually. It was good. This was back in 2011, I think, when they were here. But that has manifested itself, your passion, into a game, as we can see behind us.
I have passion. I love Iron Maiden. In fact, they were one of the bands that because I was a first-generation punk rocker. Right, so that's how old I am. So when I saw the first couple of versions of Iron Maiden with Paul Di'Anno singing and stuff, I was like, "Oh my God, there's a connection between punk and metal." That sort of, and then, but I kind of, the real passion for Iron Maiden is James, our CEO, he has lived and breathed that band for like 25 years. He's the one who put the contact together. He brings the authenticity to and the relationship to them. They just you're one of us, right? Like, it's amazing because I'm sure they've had 100 developers and 100 publishers. We want to make a game. We want to make, and they were like, you guys, and that's because James just understands the breed and the brand and the whole ethos of Iron Maiden. I mean, again, I love it. It was a pleasure to take my son to the show. Nico McBrain, the drummer, was like, gave me personalized drumsticks to give to my son. The nicest guys, they all came to the studio, and the manager, Rod, who's a wonderful guy, he said, yeah, it's really unusual to see all the band together in one place. They're really engaged and super involved in the making of the product. So it's been I've done a lot of things, from Beavis and Butthead, Jackie Chan. I've worked with a lot of people over the course of my career, and Iron Maiden are right up there with some of the nicest guys I've ever worked with.
And you've mentioned, Red Bull, and you just mentioned Jackie Chan, Beavis and Butthead. So growing up, being an arcade guy myself, I remember, playing Guns N' Roses and playing Michael Jackson Moonwalker, and the integration was there. But when it switched to console, it seemed like the brand integration with gaming kind of fell down. But now with mobile, it's kind of picked itself back up again. So how high do you value like the brand relationships that you've been able to build with the mobile platform?
Well, for us, what brands do is they help discovery, right? It's obviously, mobile games have been around for a while now, and I think coming up with an original IP can be a tough challenge for an independent developer. There's all the user acquisition and stuff. So one way to look at the businesses is there ways to bring your eCPI down, right? And so for us, the sports games, they don't, perhaps like with Red Bull, they don't have the Clash of Clans daily revenue, right, but there's a lot of people coming to play bike and racing in the air race, like millions and millions and millions and millions of people. So that gives us opportunities to partner with, for one thing, Red Bull, the discovery is great. Like we get featured, we build quality products, Apple loves it, and people are going, wow, Red Bull, thank you, this is a great game. And so we build really, really good products, and there's a good brand relationship there. And that cascades down to, like, if you play the bike game, you'll see Specialized in there and Toyota, and there's people go, yeah, there's like millions of people coming through, and this is a bargain compared to what a 30-second ad would cost us on TV or print, right? So we're just, like, as we talked about a moment ago, the business models are evolving and changing, and so we're not, the sports just is a different business, but it's great, it's a blast and super fun.
Well, I want to thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. And for everyone watching that want to find out what's going on with Roadhouse, the games that you guys currently have on the App Store, what's the best place for them to get that information?
Well, our website, www.roadhouseinteractive.com. I don't know if that's Roadhouse, but roadhouseinteractive.com.
We'll link it in the video.
Yeah, but if you want, check out Legacy of the Beast. Just use the Google. Any of the games like Red Bull, Bike, or whatever, you can find those easy enough online. So, yeah, thanks a lot. It was a real pleasure to talk to you.
It was our pleasure, and everyone watching, please make sure to check out Iron Maiden, Legacy of the Beast. That based on the art, it looks like an amazing game. Let's move.
So it's Iron Maiden. Yeah, so it is. It's www.ironmaidenlegacy.com.
ironmaidenlegacy.com. So make sure you check it out, and hit up roadhouseinteractive.com for all the latest and greatest. So, Ian, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you.
Spiro.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.